is time for us to choose. A new age is upon us. It is time for us to choose. A new age is upon us. is time for us to choose. A new age is upon us. It is time for us to choose. A new age is upon us. It is time for us to choose. A new age is upon us.
Right. Go party people. Oh, I'm muted. Why am I muted?
You're not
Huh?
muted.
Oh, it says you guys are talking. It's not, clearly.
We're doing that like ventriloquist thing, but on Discord.
No ventriloquism here. Those puppets are weird. That joke
You,
fell
you,
flat.
Or we're just all on push on talk.
Oh,
Or push to talk.
that too. Alright, how's everyone doing today?
pretty good.
I have a headache and I'm tired.
Hmm?
I am not good. I have a headache and I'm tired.
Oh, not good. You should take something for that. It sounds like a medical problem.
I asked Jack to get me Panadol, but he's mean.
Wait, what?
Panadol? Is that not what you call it in America?
What is...
It's just like your basic pain relief. I don't know what the equivalent would be.
So, I
We,
guess if it's a brand name, that we would call it either Advil or Tylenol.
Yeah, sounds about right.
But there's a chemical name for it, and one is acetaminophen, and the other is...
paracetamol.
Yes.
Yes, paracetamol.
You want to hear a funny joke?
Sure.
Why is there no medicine in the jungle? Because paracetamol.
Parasites. Wait, what?
Because paracetamol.
Parrots eat them. Okay. I'm gonna say parasites eat them all, but that didn't quite line up as good. I think we're playing without Joe today, right?
Kian, I am here. Kian isn't.
Okay, other way around. Okay.
What the-
I'll give him a minute because I know he was kind of flip flopping on if he was gonna be with us today.
Yeah.
Then we'll get started. Last session, I should look at the camera when I'm saying this. Last session, the players or the party snuck on board a frost giant longship after their first attempt got them dashed against the coast. They were successful in looting the ship and made out like a king with a small fortune of coin and various art items, which they then went to Neverwinter and sold for another small fortune. Purchased a rather stately armored carriage with a swivel heavy crossbow mounted in it. Met Lord Dagult Neverember, the current Lord of Neverember, and set out for Tribor. If I remember correctly, we kind of hand waved the travel because it was so late in the day. And we kind of wanted to get to Tribor, so we just skipped past it. There were no random encounters. I had rolled for those. In between sessions, went ahead and bought 2 more horses because the carry weight was kind of bugging me in particular. But where we are currently, I guess we'll just keep is the quaint village Tribor. You have traveled up the long road. Nope, never mind. That's wrong. West. Traveled across the Tribor Trail for 6 or 7 days at this point, passing by the occasional merchant or deliveryman of a new cart to someone in Neverwinter. On the way in, as you get closer to Tribor, you pass by a number of horse ranches, cattle farms, things of that nature. This is a very rural area, various crops, mostly things like wheat and livestock are growing. If you look in the bottom right, it kind of gives you an idea that this town is really surrounded by, and you gather that it's probably this community's main livelihood. Coming into Tribor, it is a bustling center of commerce. You notice there is two kind of stockyards in the center of town. And in one in particular, there's a man standing like on a block, and he's got a number of sheep caged behind him, and he's kind of auctioning them off one by one. You know what I forgot to do? Pull up a document that I need. I'll pull it up while I'm talking. As you come into the center of town with your very fancy cart, you do catch a few eyes. And Blue, being that you are navigating the cart from the driver's seat, I was about to say pilot. You notice that outside of this kind of square tower smack dab in the middle of town are three figures. One is a black-haired Eluskan woman, shorter length hair, very stern, firm face. I believe she has a great sword strapped to her back. Double check. Her great sword. Oh, yeah, I was right. She has a great sword strapped to her back, and she's got her arms crossed, and she is listening to these two men who seem to be grieving some kind of complaint towards her, and she does not seem very enthused with what it is they're bringing to her attention. If I could find my document, I could actually tell you exactly what they say. But hold up, because I'm a bad DM.
How dare.
Right?
Are they arguing about the aquatic nature of horses?
No, although you would have heard someone in one of the various farmhouses shouting at their husband about letting a horse run off into the river and demanding that he go chase it down. Oh, okay. Oh, so there we go. One of the men, they're both probably in their mid-30s, says, "I'm telling you, Miss Lord Protector, the priest in town told us, and he ain't one for lying. Mirak's still at home, and I'm telling you, he never even left." And she kind of softens her face a little bit, but in a very firm voice says, "I understand you're still searching for answers, but I don't think there's anything to that. Mirak ran away with a lady friend, much to the embarrassment of his wife. Hasn't seen fit to contact you. However, promise I'll look into it. If you do bother that poor lady again, I'll have the 12 throw you in jail for a fortnight. Understand?" They both kind of grunt and nod as they turn to. What do you do?
I guess hop out of the car because she's revealed herself to be someone in a position of authority and say, evening, we're looking for a Darthag Uga. Know where we could find her?
If you're looking for Darthag Ulgar, you'll find him in the Lion Shield Coster. Sorry, the Lion's Share. The Lion Shield Coster's base of operations here in Tri. My name is Darathra Shendril, the Lord Protector of Tribor. Nice to meet your acquaintance, travelers.
Well, I'm Bulwark Knox from Abdar.
And she'll point from outside where her tower is at T1 to a building like literally 50 feet. Yeah, 50 feet from it to the east, T6. That's the lion's share. She says, well, Mr. Knox, pleased to meet your acquaintance. Make sure you keep your weapons sheathed while you're in Tribor.
Of course. We are also looking to get our cart fitted out. We heard you guys have a bit of a speciality with that. Is there anyone here in particular you can recommend for cart repairs or upgrades?
Well, you've come to the right place then. There are two notable cartwrights here in Tribor. There is Wainwright's Wagons. They boast of their own horse-driven sawmill. They collect the lumber themselves. That's just right there. Points to the south to T5. They're a bit costly. However, there might have been no one. I may have misspoke. Yep, I misspoke. There's only one.
Oh, duh.
Yep. So she would point you in the direction of Wainwright's Wagons.
The people, or the person rather, that they were talking about, Mirak. That's that sounds familiar to me as a player, and I don't know if that's because we've actually heard of or met them, or if it's just
You have never heard that name and never met those people. You might be thinking of Mirak from Skyrim.
I never played it, so I don't think so.
Nope. Then I
Well,
don't know where you would have heard this name from.
Okay. I think Wobbly would just say, what were those people complaining about?
She kind of frowns a bit and says, I don't really have enough time to look into this. It seems pretty cut and dry to me. A man, Mirak Histrin, went missing probably about a decade ago. Left his poor wife Tolmara behind. She says he ran off with one of his lady friends, and honestly, I'm inclined to agree. His brothers have never believed the tale, and they live out near in one of the ranches as farmhands. Every once in a while, they come and ask me to look deeper into it, but there's just no evidence that anything foul happened. Um, I'll tell you what, if you feel like looking into it, I'll give you 10 gold pieces for your trouble. If you end up finding anything, I'll give you 40 more.
Okay.
I would look into it more, but I have more pressing issues on hand. Orc raids, giants rampaging about. Fallen Orc Ranch got destroyed last month.
By orcs or giants?
It's not entirely clear. It was pretty much burnt down by the time the 12 got out there.
Well, when it comes to giants, we've built a small name for ourselves dealing with frost giants. We've slain over a dozen of them. What giants are you having issue with?
Well, again, not entirely sure if it was giants or orcs. We just know that those two have been marauding out in the area recently. If you'll excuse me, I have some paperwork I need to take care of. If you want to talk to Talmara, you'll find her in Six Windows. It's an old uh, rooming house. She would point at in the direction of T14. Would have passed it as you came into town. It's kind of an old, decrepit building.
Thank you.
She nods and turns and heads into her small tower. It's a square tower, maybe 50 feet on a side, 100 feet tall.
Who wants to break the news to the lady in the lion shield costume?
I don't think it will come well from me.
Should we make it into like a game? Like, hey, I bet I could tell you something surprising. And then just
Well, I mean, he was her ex-husband, right? I'm sure she's not going to be overly upset.
maybe this will be good news.
I mean, I can talk to her. Let's head inside.
Oh, and by the way,
What?
it wouldn't have been Darthag Ulgar, it would have been Elastra Ulgar.
Yeah. Darthag was the one who died. Okay, let's head into the lion share.
Okay. You walk over to a building at a familiar blue shield with a golden lion embossed on it. It hangs on a plaque outside of a rather large building that seems to be attached to a small warehouse. Inside, it is a well-stocked general store. You see a human man. He's got rather nicely trimmed facial hair and shoulder-length black hair. A gold chain, not quite a necklace, that kind of wraps over his shoulders with an amber pendant. He seems to be, what's the word? Stocking produce from a crate into various like display shelves. And he looks up as the little bell rings when you enter, and he says, "Oh, welcome, travelers. The Lion's Shield, the Lion's Share. How can I help you?"
We're looking for an Alestra, Olga.
Oh, 1 second. I'll have to run upstairs. He takes off his apron and places it on the counter and leaves the area. A few moments pass, and he comes back with a kind of fair-skinned, a little bit pale brunette woman, ear-length hair, kind of curious expression on her face. Says, yes, I'm Elisha. Can I help you?
You might have already heard, but I believe you had an ex-husband in Nightstone.
Darthag, yeah? Why? What happened?
Well, a little while ago at this point, it was attacked by giants, and well, unfortunately, he passed away when this attack happened.
That's a shame. He's a decent enough man, despite our differences. Did he leave anything behind?
Not that I'm aware of. Was there something that you would have expected him to want you to have?
No, not in particular. We haven't spoken in quite some time. It's just kind of odd that you show up to serve a death notice of somebody and there's no I guess no will or anything like that.
Sadly, when we came to Nightstone, there was not much of it left. The um, the captain of the guard informed us that you were here, and we were planning to make a pit stop around the Sword Coast as we traveled to inform people of their lost loved ones. Um, we left it a good nick, though. If you did want to find a will or anything, Nightstorm should be safe now. Last we checked it about 2 months ago.
I might have to head down that way at some point. Well, thank you.
And
If there's anything we can provide for you here, feel free to let me know, unless there's something else that you need.
One thing I did forget to buy or look into at all. Do you have any healing potions here?
I think we did get a shipment in. Let me run upstairs and see if we have any still.
Okay.
She makes her way upstairs and comes back, and she has a small comes back with a small box, and inside are two small red flasks that you recognize to be. And she says, normally we charge about 60 gold pieces a piece, but for your trouble, we can each for 50.
We will look at
I've just got a noticed on his armor. I'll take out. We got 500 silver pieces that we can get rid of.
Okay, so that would be one potion of healing.
Now I've got 4,500 copper pieces in this bag, but I'm not going to do that to you. And I was looking for 50 gold
She
pieces.
gives you a quizzical look, and then I'm sorry, you do what?
Actually, I'll give her 5 platinum pieces.
She takes the coin. She actually gets out a small, almost like jewelry box sized chest and places all of the silver in there, and then she'll take the 5 platinum and place that in a small bag on her waist. And she says, "Appreciate your business." We
Okay,
do
thank you.
also sell just various arms and armor if you need anything. We don't really sell to too many of the townsfolk. I don't really like having this out of town business come in, mostly catered to adventurers. So if you do end up needing anything while you're in town, let us know.
Do you have any dynamite?
She kind of cocks her head as if she does. That is.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Thank you, and I don't know exactly how long we're going to be here, but if we're around for a few days, I'm sure we'll visit again at some point.
Right. Well, if you do end up needing a place to stay, had the name. I lost it.
The Happy Horse Ranch? We should take carnage rations, longboat, and
Dragon.
glue stick.
Oh, is it glue stick? Okay. So actually, I lied a second time. There is a second place for wagons. It's called the Cart and Coin.
Stop lying to us.
No, I need to stop playing games. She said if you
Say
end
that
up
again?
needing a place to stay, I recommend the North Shield House. It's a rather stately place. Very nice. The proprietor's very kind.
Thank you. You wouldn't have any dog toys here, would you?
No, unfortunately not.
I'll buy a length of rope.
Okay. I believe it is 10 gold for.
Stop
Does anyone
playing
else
games
need
with us.
any?
Play games with us.
Does anyone need any other like adventuring gear, rations, anything like that?
It's 1 gold for 50 feet of rope.
Is it 1 gold? I'm sorry, it's 1 gold.
Yes.
That was my brain. It's 10 pounds. That's what it is.
Yes.
Bad. Can't memorize every rule. Much as I try.
Why not?
Okay. Where was this? Sorry, I forgot. I already forgot what you called it. Where was this place you recommended?
It's on the east end of town. If you actually, when you exit out of here and make a right, follow the trail out.
Okay. I think we will hit there. What time is it?
I think by the time that you get into Tribor, it's probably about midday.
Okay, I'm not looking for accommodations yet.
As you head out into the square, one particularly notable place that you would notice is T15. Partially because it sits on a hill that kind of overlooks the rest of the town. There is a stone mansion. Um, it kind of sits ominously, almost like it's watching over the town. And Blue, you can make out that there are like carved onto the roof of this mansion are a number of stone statues. Can't quite make out like what they look like. You just kind of know that they're there.
Jack's trying to stone cutting it.
From this distance, you can't make out enough detail to. Oh, um, I think from this distance, you wouldn't be able to make out any clear details enough about it.
Well, I
It'd be
guess
like
while we're here in
looking.
town,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
sorry. I was just gonna say, I guess while we're here in town, we could look for this missing person. This, his wife, I think it was said, apparently says he was running off with someone else, but his brothers say that he wouldn't do that or that something else happened. I have a spell that can force the truth, and as long as they sort of are okay with that, I can make sure that any information we gather is not a lie. So maybe if we start doing that tomorrow, I could prepare that spell.
Yeah, we could also just say, hello, where do you think your husband went? We can look around for him, or something like that. Well, because
Yes.
if we can verify that he actually is alive, then we can get those boys off of her back, if you get what I mean.
So we'd have to travel to a whole new different place to verify.
We can add it to the list.
You know, I wonder what gives. I guess we should talk to everyone involved, but I do wonder what makes his brothers think it's so out of character for him.
The other thing I'm worried about is the Fallen Oak Farmstead. I might ask around for a bit, try and see if I can find anyone who lived there or worked on that farm. Get some information about it. Maybe get permission to investigate it in the morning.
Okay. I guess I can help you with this. What are you wanting to do, Malira?
I was just gonna have a look around town. I have no matters, I guess, anywhere. So I was just gonna have a look around, see what this town's about, really.
Okay.
All right. So sounds like the three of you are splitting up. Who wants to go where?
Is there like a large tavern or like eating hall area?
I can actually go ahead and describe most of the buildings because you can see most of them from the center of town. T1, Town Market and Square, Market Square and Tower. It's the center of Tribor where the long road meets the Evermore Way. It's a huge open space used as a market by local farmers and peddlers. There's a number of people hawking fruits and vegetables and cuts of meat and things of that nature. Over the entrance of the tower is a dusty banner which depicts three black boars running toward the head of the banner on a blood red field. T2 is a caravan campground, so that's probably where you would park your cart. There's a cottage in the east corner of the lot. There's also an elderly man who is removing garbage and such in that campground. T3 is also a campground, but it looks like it's not as not used as much. There is a well in the center of it. T4 is the Happy Horse Ranch. You would see someone in the large pen to the south of it. Looks like they're breaking in a new horse. T5 is Wainwright's Wagons. Um, there's a sawmill and a couple large buildings for lumber storage there. Mindshare. T7 is an abandoned building. The yard is full of weeds, and the windows are boarded over. 8 is the Cart and Coin. It looks like they sell and swap horses and other draft animals, feed, horseshoes, riding gear, etc. T9 is a place that is got a sign hanging out of it called the Tribor Travelers. You can kind of insinuate based on the design of the sign and the name that it is it's like a bodyguard company. Like you hire these people to protect your carts when they leave Tribor. Thing. T10 is a stately looking inn. T11 is a rather small store. Looks like it is a harness shop of some type. T12 bulwark, I think would be what you're looking for. It's not quite large. It's an L-shaped building that proclaims that it is the talking troll. It looks a little run down. Probably a dive bar. T13 is also a boarded up and empty building. Vandals have carved lewd phrases into the planks on the doors and windows. T14 is that creaky, decrepit wooden rooming house that you passed on the way in. I described T15 already. T17 appears to be a smithy on top of a small hill. T18 also appears to be a smithy right across from each other, but down the road a ways. T19 is a.
Sorry to interrupt, Tony.
Yep, go ahead.
What was T16? Sorry.
T16 is. Oh, I didn't even read it. Da, 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 da. That is also a tavern. Leaning in the doorway is a purple-skinned tiefling wearing a rather snazzy black suit. He's polishing a mug and probably nods and winks at you as you pass by. The
I think
base
he
of that
likes you.
the base of that building looks burned.
Interesting.
T19 is a park. There's a cottage standing near a brightly painted barn at one point in the park, and there's a white picket fence that encloses the field behind it. Well, the field is the park. It looks like they house ponies there. T20 is a 3-story inn, and it looks very fancy. T21 is right next door to that fancy-looking inn, and it appears to be a restaurant called the Pleasing Platter, and it looks equally fancy. T22 is a old cemetery. T23 is across the road from. I don't know why they put T10 and T23 right next to each other. That doesn't make. Is a slouched wooden cottage with ivory-covered walls. Parked outside of it is a ramshackle wheelbarrow, and hanging above that wheelbarrow is a wooden sign shaped like a potions bottle. T24 is a forest. And T25 is what looks like a large muddy field.
Where's T25?
Be there unless I just didn't mark it. Oh, I didn't pull out the. So it's not really important.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go into the bars and I'm going to see if I can find anyone who worked at the Fallen Orc. See you all in a bit.
Okay.
Right, so Bulwark, are you going to the Talking Troll or are you going to the Inn with the?
I'll go to the inn with the Tiefling.
Okay. Blue, where do you want to go? Well, let me ask this: is everyone going with Bulwark, or are you guys splitting up?
Blue. I think. Blue's a bit curious why there's so many sort of rundown and abandoned houses around, so he's going to maybe go back and talk to the lion share person, or just find someone to sort of ask for general information about town.
Okay. You could talk to a number of people, really. Do you want to go to the lion's share, or did you want to go to else?
I think the lion share.
Okay. Malira, where would you want to go during all this?
I was gonna just wander around the streets, mainly run down past past 21, going up to 23 and walking back around, then possibly just heading up towards the forest area.
Okay. I'll start with Bulwark. Bulwark, you get closer and you can see that it's clear that this building has been burned down a number of times. As you approach, the king smiles and says, Welcome, traveler. Welcome to the Tribor Arms. Please come in, enjoy a drink. First one's on the house.
Ah, thank you. What's happened with your building? There's been a couple of accidents around.
He frowns and says, yeah, some people, Tribor ain't always the most welcoming place. But, and his frown quickly fades into a smile. But I've been fortunate enough to be able to have the resources to rebuild both times. So, enough people like it here.
Ah,
My name is Nemeth, by the way. I own this place.
nice to meet you. I'm Bulwark.
Bulwark, you have yourself a good day. As you
Um, any, any of your patrons work, or did you know anyone who would know who worked at the Fallen Orc before it was attacked?
can't think of anyone who's worked there. We haven't really seen anyone from the Fallen Orc in a while. Zindra might know something. I don't know if she was out that particular day. And he kind of cranes his neck in the direction of someone you could see kind of past him, a half elf woman who is eating a bowl of soup.
Hmm. Um, oh, I'll grab some drinks in the bed. I'm just gonna go have a quick chat. Best to do business while sober.
He laughs and kind of moves out of your way, and as you pass by him, he kind of returns to his position. You walk up to this woman, and she is a copper skinned um, half elf. Her hair is brown, but it's kind of tinged with green. And she notices, well, she kind of perks up when Nemeth said her name. And as you make your presence known as you walk up to her, she um, kind of chugs the rest of the bowl of soup and puts it down, wipes her face with her mouth. Um, says, I'm Zindra Winterbow. What do you need?
I would you mind if I practice my Elvish while we had this talk?
Sure, why not? I don't speak it enough here.
Um, and I'll just ask her if she worked at the Fallen Orc and if she had any information about what happened, or just what she, or if there's anything strange about the ranch.
I'll tell you what. I usually charge 10 gold a day for escorting people. Information I feel like is valuable. Cost me 5. I'll fill you in on what I know about the local goings on.
Uh, well, everyone's gonna buy soup somehow. Match up the
Uh,
5 gold pieces.
she kind of grabs them with her finger and kind of slides them around, kind of playing with them with her fingers, and she says, "No, I keep watch on the forest and the hill lands around Tribor. Noticed a lot of hill giants um, in the area. Big, slovenly fellows. Um, that'd be bad enough, but got a couple ogres as well, and then you have the Uthgart. They I think they claimed settlement nearby, probably bedding down. So if you leave in town, I'd be wary of those.
The youth got being
Make a history check. So the Uthgart, um, get with a 10 is that the Uthgart are kind of like I don't want to say savage folk, but they are like roaming nomadic wild men and women, wild people. There are a number of different clans across Sword Coast. That's probably what.
Well, giants are in my crosshairs, so to speak. Me and the adventuring group I'm in, we make a small name for ourselves dealing with giants. So I'm not sure if tomorrow, if you wanted to make your job a bit easier, you could just point us in the right direction of where the attacks are, and we can try and deal with them.
Oh, if I knew where they were going to attack, I would have already caught a job hunting them down. Seems kind of random, being honest.
Are there any large stones of magical nature or any artifacts in the nearby area?
Not that I know of.
Hmm. Are they looking for anything when you saw them in particular, or just their usual antics?
Oh, well, the thing about hill giants is that they're kind of dumb, right? They see something and they want to eat it. Um, they might start an attack somewhere and halfway through forget why they were there.
Fair enough. All right. Well, thank you. If you got any other information, you can find me somewhere around here. I'm gonna grab some drink.
Good thing.
I'm gonna
And
head back to the bar.
if you need a guide somewhere, remember 10 gold a day.
Mhm. I'm gonna have some drinks with the bartender and change stories. That's it for me.
Make a charisma check, the bartender.
Oh God, why have you done this?
Okay. While you're exchanging stories with the bartender, he's very cordial. He's also a tiefling, black skinned, all red eyes. But yeah, it's been the weirdest thing, right? So the local forest, Greyrin Slumber, uh, it's a mystical forest, right? The Lord Protector forbids anyone from getting lumber there. They got to go further out of town for that. A lot of the patrons in the bar are like rangers, druids. So every once in a while, a ranger will go out there. Greyrin's the god, tracking and some of the time don't come back. Whispers, Gwayrin comes, grants visions to his worshipper. On occasion, seems that he's away. Finds
Ah, and has this always been the case, or?
yeah, about as long as I can remember.
Hmm, that's some very good information. Thank you.
He nods and winks as he slides you your drink that's on the house.
Hmm. I'll, I'll take the drink and I'll give him 10 gold pieces and I'll say, for later, I gotta
Thank you,
talk to
sir.
my friends about this.
Quite kind.
Yeah, I'll bring them all back here. I'm gonna start hobbling out as fast as my little legs can take me.
Okay. Blue, you were going to the lion's share. When you head back into
Yes.
the lion's share, the black-haired, bejeweled man is still there, and instead of groceries this time, he is um, oiling a set of leather armor as the bell rings inside, and looks up and says, "Oh, welcome back."
Hello again. Sorry, I didn't intend to be back so quickly, but um, I was just wondering if I'd be able to ask a few questions about the town to someone in the know.
Sure. What can I help you with?
Well, first off, I noticed quite a number of sort of abandoned or ramshackle houses around. Is there Has something happened that caused that, or is it just old houses?
That's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, right? Which that analogy makes no sense because these restaurants. But anyway, um, this is well, the owner of the Frost Touched Fog, uh, that building just hasn't been occupied. Nobody's bought it in some time. Another one. Where is it? And the owner of the rent. No, that's not it. It's so many buildings in this place for such a small settlement. Boop, boop. Oh, and he says, well, and then that building on the north road, north end of the long road, can't remember its name. The owner passed away a few years ago, and again, no one's bought that yet.
Okay. The owner of I think it was T7 you were talking about.
Yes. Name. Nope, that's not it. Answer's open.
What happened to the
Yep,
owner?
that's right. I don't know why. Oh, well, one day he just stopped showing up, and someone knocked on his door, hoping. Well, let me back up. The establishment once sold feed and caravan supplies, and they hired out caravan guards. One day, someone went in to, check in for work and found him dead in his bed. Natural causes, they think.
Okay. And thank you for helping. I just have one more question. The big, scary-looking house that overlooks everything. What's the story with that?
He kind of looks a little frustrated when you bring that up, and he says, that's Boar's Rest. Rich wizard lives up there. Kind of a prick. I don't know too much about it, but the cart and coin had some horses stolen because of some incident a few months ago. All I know is that it ended up waking me up with all the lightning and the booming, and then on top of that, his gargoyles swoop down every once in a while and pester people. Dude has no no social awareness, and just thinks that none of it's his fault.
Crazy old wizard.
He nods.
Okay. Thank you. I hope to see you again soon.
Anytime.
Actually, and Blue will sort of look at sort of the shaft of a spear that he's been using as a quarterstaff. Do you have any quarterstaves?
He kind of eyes you up and down for a moment and says, I can sell you a quarterstaff if you need.
Oh wait, I don't have any money on me. Here, take this bloodstone.
He looks at it. How much is the bloodstone worth?
50 gold.
Okay, he'll trade you a quarterstaff and whatever the change is. I'm sure a quarterstaff is like what, 2 silver? It's not that expensive.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know how much, however much it really is. I don't know.
You're right, it was 2 silver.
Oh, hey, look, I do know some of these rules. Yeah, he'll hand you the quarterstaff and 49 gold. No, he's not that guy. 49 gold and 8 silver.
Very good.
He just shaves a little bit off the bloodstone and hands you the rest back.
Blue would have been perfectly happy for him just to take the bloodstone. Don't let Blue run out of money, I guess. Here, have this diamond for like 1 ration.
Well, I only need
when
one.
times are tough.
I just don't have my gold on me at the moment. The woes of being rich.
All right, Malira. So you're kind of wanting to talk around town. Get the what? Is there anything in particular you're trying to investigate?
Sure. Less talk, more like just wander around town, look around, and
Okay.
then she was going to head up towards the forest area
So
because
T21
shade.
is T21. I think you said you're going that way. Is the Pleasing Platter. It's a fine restaurant, and it is it's got a wooden construction, but then kind of holding up the overhang on the entryway are these like very nicely carved pillars. Looks very fancy from the outside. And then behind it, about 100 feet or so, is that very fancy looking inn, which now that you're closer to it, appears to be carved from marble.
Hmm.
And that you can see the entry sign. Well, the engraving above the door claims that it is the Ever Wyvern House.
That's nice. I'll continue walking
Yep. You going up?
with my horse next to me.
Okay. Going up to T23, like I said, it is a kind of small shack, slouching roof. Nope. And there's a sign outside that is shaped to look like a potion bottle.
Neat.
Yep. As you pass by, make a perception check.
It'll be at disadvantage because there's still sunlight, right?
Yep.
I still have fucking Emissary of the Peace on.
Okay.
10.
Okay. You hear a small inside as you walk past that building.
A small what?
Like a small. I don't want to say it's an explosion because it's not like a loud. It's a loud popping sound, but it's not an explosion. It's kind of like a very loud.
You made no noise for me.
Well, it didn't pick up on the mic. It's kind of like
Like a popping of like a bottle of wine or something like that.
Well, no, I guess it kind of is like you know those little things that on I don't know what you guys would use them for over here. It's a type of like firecracker, but it's the little things that you throw on the ground and they kind of
Yeah,
it's like that.
yeah. Shit. Where was that coming from? 23. She will tell Winchester to stay at just
My God,
outside
his
the
name is
path.
Winchester.
Yes, it's called Winchester. He's called Winchester. He's the large celestial warhorse of mine. And he knows Elvish.
Okay. He doesn't speak Elvish though.
No, he knows it. He understands it. Right, I'll head up to the door and just lightly knock on it. Is everything alright in there?
The door kind of it slightly opens and you can see a human male. The half of his face kind of sticks out, and he's got like crazy gray hair, and the half of the face that you can see is blackened with what appears to be soot. And he says, "Yes, what do you need?"
I just heard well, not a large bang, but a quite loud one.
Everything's
Just
fine. He slams the door in your face.
okay. She'll walk back over to her horse, look back at the house, and start walking back
Okay.
through the path.
With your 10, I think you would have also noticed a kind of burning smell when he opened the door.
He seemed fine.
Okay, and then you make your way to the forest.
Yeah.
Okay, how deep into the forest do you go?
Not too deep, you'll wander about like on the path, maybe up to about here,
Okay.
but then we'll probably look around there and then walk back out.
Okay.
Not too much.
Yeah, if you don't go in too deep, you don't really see much. Most of the trees that you pass by are a variety of dazzling shades of yellow, orange, and red, as if it was autumn, and it is the beginning of winter. Most of these trees should have already lost their leaves.
Mm, probably the normal around here. I don't know. I've never been here before.
Yep. Okay. Say that probably all about at the same time, you all three would rejoin back in the market square. And it is probably 5 o'clock at this point, and near the end of the day, dinner time.
Well, I found something interesting. Apparently, the forest is like super magical or something, and sometimes when hunters go in there, they go missing. Now, if I remember correctly, Nightstone had like some magical rock thing, so maybe they've got some magical tree thing here. The
The
giant swamp.
logic is flawless.
Well, I mean, I went slightly into the forest, and it seemed like most of the life was somewhat alive around there. Doesn't
Hmm.
look like any of the other tree. Does the path where I went? Does the trees look like any of the trees out here?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, are the trees out here looking a bit more like wintry than the autumn trees inside?
Yes. They're not like it's the beginning of winter, so they haven't like completely lost all their leaves outside of that forest. But they're like the lower boughs of most of these trees are bare. Yeah.
Yeah. They were looking a lot more, well, I guess livelier than the trees out here.
Hmm. Could be a cause to investigate. I've got a spell that I can cast tomorrow that'll allow me to detect any magic. Maybe we can have just a walk around in the morning before we deal with any of um, the the giants. Oh yeah, speaking of the giants, hill giants, marauding around well, the Fallen Walk. I found a lady who was a tracker or a guide.
Um, you say that the forest people that went in there could disappear. That missing man lived just like outside it, right?
Yes, I forgot about that.
That's interesting. Well, I didn't find out too much. I asked about some of the abandoned houses, and well, one of the owners of one just died, seemingly of natural causes, and I can't even remember what he said about the other one, but it wasn't that important. It sounded like.
Hmm.
um,
As you're all
and then I
talking,
go.
a man, maybe in his late 50s, early 60s, with kind of a long, raggedy blonde hair, approaches you from the north where your cart is. He says, "Hey, it's fine to park there, but it's 2 silver a day to keep the cart there. Never checked in."
I've got some silver. Yeah, I have 2 silver, and Blue will throw him 2 silver.
Thank you, my lord. Just so you know, this pays for the removal of your horse's business, as it were, and making sure no one takes anything from your cart.
Oh,
Thank you.
sweet.
He nods, and as he turns, you can see that he bites the coin that you hand him. Hello.
Hi, sorry. Sorry, what had he said last, or what had he done last?
He turns to leave, and as he's leaving, you can tell that he bites both of the coins that you handed him.
Fair enough.
Maybe we should have given him some food instead.
Make an insight check. Yeah, that man's hungry.
Is he really? I'll call out to him as he's leaving and say, "Hey, wait, come here."
He turns kind of like off guard, kind of swivels around on his heel and comes back. Yeah, what can I do for you?
Blue sort of pull out his shield, which is laden with 30 good berries right now, and say,
Oh no,
take.
Blue with a 19. I only saw the 7. Blue with a 19. He's just biting the coin to make sure that it's authentic.
Oh, well, that's what I assumed as a player, but then you said he was hungry.
I didn't see your 19.
Oh,
I
well.
just saw the 7.
Oh, well. I will offer him a good berry anyway.
He reaches out and grabs one and nods and says, "Thank you, my lord." Throws the berry
Okay,
down his mouth, and
goodbye.
like as he's walking away, it kind of hits him. Right? He kind of stops and like grabs his stomach, and then he like tilts his head, and you can tell that he's kind of confused. But he like shakes his head and just keeps on walking.
You've done
Just
a
healed
good
him
deed.
for like all of his hit points.
You've
He
done a
also
good deed
filled him up for
today.
the day.
You fed a starving man.
Okay, now that we've fed the poor, time to go to sleep. Or go to T10 anyway, that's where Blue wanted to stay.
Well, I've got 10 gold on the bar in the tavern. I'm gonna go have some drinks and mingle with the people. Malira should probably take the coin purse because I'm gonna get a bit wasted.
Okay.
Here you go. Don't lose it. Put the bag inside a bag and then like put that underneath your armor or something. I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
Or I'm taking Ava with me. Feel free to come if you want. And I'm gonna trot off.
Okay. Does anyone else go drinking with Bulwark?
I didn't really like the fire whiskey that I sipped on last time. I'm just gonna go to the inn.
Okay. Malira, what are you gonna do?
I will follow Blue, a bit confused, just holding the bag.
Okay. So, Bulwark, you hand off the bag of holding with all the coin in it, and then you make your way into the Tribor Arms. Just to kind of simplify it a bit, go ahead and I want you to make a charisma check, and if you have proficiency in persuasion, you can add that as well. Go ahead and also roll me a Constitution saving throw. Nice. Okay. It takes you a bit longer to get drunk than usual. You're a good way through your 10 gold. And you're kind of starting to feel buzzed at that point. The duality of Bulwark. Um, you try talking to a few of the locals. Not too many of them are like very chatty, especially with a heavily drinking dwarf. However, some things that you do learn, just because it's kind of baseline information and things people are willing to talk about, is small talk. Um, at some point, you bring up the missing man. I'm assuming, unless that's not on Bulwark's mind.
I think you'd mention it offhandedly.
Okay. At some point throughout the night of drinking, you learn that it is rumored that he was having an affair with the innkeeper of the North Shield House, although she denies it.
Ooh.
You would also learn that the that there is a priest of Helm who is staying in the talking troll and for some reason refuses to leave. And that
So he had an affair with the shopkeep from the Lion Shield.
No, the North Shield. The inn. E10. And you also would learn that the brothers met with this priest and paid him a few gold to ask Helm about their brother. And the priest claimed that Helm said that Murak was at home and had never left.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I'll
technically
say it
information
again. I'll be like, am I a bit drunk? Like they say the same thing twice. I'm not like so drunk I'm getting the wrong information.
You don't know.
Oh.
You're getting kind of drunk at that point. But no, technically that's information I should have told you earlier, and I just forgot. Learn it now. But you don't get any more information because you
Easy.
rolled a 4. Baloo, and I'll also say that you're able to safely make it back without issues. Blue and Malira. The North Shield House is a fine local inn, stately, clean. As you enter in, fairly quiet. The proprietor, who is at a desk when you walk in, it's kind of like an old bed and breakfast type situation, where it's like a multi-storied home that's been kind of outfitted to have a guest in every room. The proprietor, standing behind a counter with a small silver bell on it, is a dark-skinned human woman with this very large and lusciously curled out afro. She is middle-aged, and as you enter in, she gives you a very wide smile and says, "Hello, newcomers. It looks like my name is Ergala Meltimer, and I run the North Shield House. I assume you need a place to stay."
Hi, I'm Lou. Nice to meet you. Yeah, we do. We were recommended this place by the Lion's Share owner.
Oh, those two are so sweet. I'll have to make sure to thank them sometime. The room is 5 silver each. Will you be needing one room, or will you be splitting up?
I mean, we have a companion that's not here, and we normally don't mind sharing a room. But Melira, I don't know if you would like a room to yourself.
I do not mind. I just having a bed would be nice. Is all.
Are they all double beds? Just the entire party.
Well, I was once a traveler myself, so I am very aware of how cramped travel accommodations can be. I do have a room with 2 sets of bunk beds in it, but I'll still need 5 silver for me.
Okay.
I'll pull out 15 silver from the bag if there is 15 silver in it.
Yeah,
Yes, there
there's
definitely is. I will believe it.
I don't know what's actually in the bag. In the bag.
okay. You think 15 silver as you reach into the bag of holding, and as you come out, pull out 15.
Now I'll hand it to her.
She'll take it and she'll slide across 3 keys and she'll say, "Look, like I said, tired traveler, keep your weapons sheathed while you're here. I'm not a big fan of open brawls. If you're gonna fight, take it outside."
Who would we fight?
I don't know. I remember my days. Sometimes things come up.
Okay.
Wait, it would be, technically it would be 20 silver because we also have Cole with us.
True. Yep. He's there, but comatose.
I cast enfeeblement on him.
I think Blue would say, I don't know exactly how long we're going to be in town. Obviously, we'll pay more if we're going to be staying again. But while we were in town, we were thinking about investigating that we've heard there's been a number of disappearances around. So I don't know if you'd heard or know anything about that.
I'm sorry. Say your question again.
I was basically asking if she knew about any of the disappearances that happened sort of in or around the forest. I might also mention Mirak specifically.
As far as the disappearances, she would say, no, the gods are a tricky business. I don't know if I put much stock in Gwayrin visiting and spiriting people away, but there's plenty of reasons why someone might go in the forest and not come out. Owlbears, ogre, knows.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. I doubt there's a god taking people away from a small village, but they could have been taken by something else.
And if you bring up Mirak, she kind of, I didn't really know him all that well. He didn't really stop by. He had a home, so he didn't really stay here that much.
Is she telling the truth?
Make an insight check. Yeah.
He's seeing to her soul.
You don't. He didn't roll a 30. He doesn't see into her soul. Kidding. So,
Wait, let me add guidance.
you gonna cast a spell in front of her?
Damn it, no. No, of course not.
Okay. You get the impression that she is withholding things. She's trying to avert the question and hope that her kind of lack of interest in the conversation is going to avoid you asking.
So sorry, just to briefly recap. So I feel like she's withholding something, but the reason for that is mostly she just doesn't really want to talk about it, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Blue will sort of nod along as she said what she said and then say, okay, well, if you think of anything, it would be nice to find these people. I will see you in the morning, I think. And he would take his key and head off to wherever the rune is.
A persuasion check.
Okay.
Because I gave him advantage.
How?
I won't.
Okay. Okay. She says, wait. And she kind of like rubs her nose. She says, look, Mirak was troubled, and as a more experienced person, he would come and we would talk. It wasn't anything romantic. I know people talk and think that it was, but it wasn't. One day we arranged that he was going to talk. We like to go out to Marigold Pony Park and watch kids ride the little ponies, and He was telling me that his wife was suspecting that he was cheating, but he really wasn't, and he was very concerned that look, I don't want to accuse anyone of anything I can't prove, but I think his wife thought he was cheating, and I don't think that he was. His marriage was
Okay.
kind of troubled for a while. They argued a good bit. Truth be told, he was getting ready to leave. But he said that he would have let me know before he didn't.
So, do you think he did leave, or do you think something else happened?
Like I said, I don't want to put forth anything that I can't prove.
Yeah, I won't say. I won't tell anyone what you say.
I don't know if he. Well, even if you don't, it wouldn't be right. Like I said, he said he was going to tell me when he leaves. I promised I would give him a few gold that I'd saved to the side, help him pay for a carriage to Amphale. He never came by. I don't know.
Okay, well, thank you for telling me that. Well, hopefully I can figure out what happened, if something happened.
I would
Good
like to
night.
know. It would put some closure on it. It's been a long time. Well, you have a good night. Enjoy your stay.
Do a smile and head upstairs, or to wherever it is his room.
Yeah, it's upstairs. All of the guest rooms are upstairs. And when you enter
Gotcha.
in, it is a decently sized room. There are 2 bunk beds, both on opposite sides of the wall. There's 2 foot lockers, one in front of each bunk bed. A desk near a window, chair, and an oil lamp on top of the desk.
This is nice. Yeah, I guess Blue would just spend the rest of the evening sitting. I think he'll take a bottom bunk bed. He is very insistent that he takes a bottom bunk bed, and he'll just sort of sit on it and I guess sort of contemplate life for a little bit and then go to sleep.
Okay. Malaria, did you want to do
At
anything?
about 1 o'clock in the morning.
I'll take the 5 minute it'll take to doff my armor, neatly pile it in a corner of the room with all her other stuff and the bag of money.
You wear heavy armor or medium armor?
Heavy.
Yeah, it takes 10.
I've got plate. It takes 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
To don it, it takes 10.
Oh, I thought it was 10 and 10. Okay. Anyway, not important for now.
Yeah, I'll neatly place all my stuff in either next to her bed, and then she'll climb up to the second bunk
Okay.
and enter trance.
Claimed topsies.
At like 1 o'clock in the morning, the door is going to slam open with Bulwark like leaning on Ava to help him walk back in. Like, everyone, I've done investigating. Apparently, Helm was having an affair with the North Shield Costa.
Silence. I don't have that spell. I don't cast that.
And the shopkeep refused to leave.
Ava howls.
Shh. Quiet. Time for bed, darling. And I'll let her sleep in the top bunk.
How does she
Well,
get
no,
to the
Cole
top
sleeps
bunk?
in the top bunk.
No, Cole sleeps on the floor. He's comatose. He can't do anything about it.
He just kind of twitches as you throw his body off the top bunk and on the
No,
floor
maybe
with a sickening crunch. No, anyway.
Then he's out.
Sleepy sleep.
Okay. Yeah, you benefit from a long rest. Everything's good. You get up the next day. What would you like to do?
Okay, so there's a priest of hell that isn't leaving the town for some strange reason. And the helm apparently said that the husband never left the house, or he's still in the house. So I think that old lady, whatever, was like, oh no, my husband is cheating, and then bunked him on the head with like a pan or something. He's got him locked in the basement, where he's still alive this day.
She keeps him in a dungeon, tied to the wall.
Blue will sort of be nodding very intently as he's listening to Bork and say, well, the person who owns this place said was quite good friends with him, it sounds like, and he didn't visit her before leaving, so I don't know, I think it's very unlikely he would have left without visiting her. It sounds like they were quite close.
I think we should have a walk through the forest. I've got my magic-y spell, so I can detect any magical objects like a large tree or a large like secondary nightstone. And then we can go have a talk to the old lady. How does that sound?
Yep, well, I've prepared my truth spell, so I can, if she doesn't have to agree, but she could resist it, but she would know it happened, so it would be best to try and make it sound reasonable that we're using magic of some sort.
Perhaps we should talk to Dartha before we interrogate her. Be like, hey, we're going to try and solve this once and for all to get it out of your hair.
Durathra.
Can we, Darathra, can we, like, do this to her people? I don't know what the customs are around here. And especially because even if we do it, she can always just lie afterwards. It's not like, we can record her confession, if anything.
Yeah, well, I would hope to find more than just her words.
Mm,
But we don't know really what happened. It would just be a conversation to begin with.
yes. Well, anyway.
And even if we decide the spell isn't a good idea, then I'm normally pretty good at figuring out if people are being honest.
Yeah. Amelia is quite persuasive. I'm sure we can work this out without even needing to do anything.
Was there anything you wanted to do today, Malira?
Not really, but I guess if we are going to, sorry, I mean, did we say we were going to explore that forest?
I'd like to, but I think we should talk to the lady first.
Okay.
Okay, we can talk to
I
the
was
lady
a
first.
little out of it. Sorry.
It's okay.
It's hard getting this armor on.
It can be very loud.
Mr. Bulwark, can you help me a little bit?
Yeah. Thing with my armor is I installed a loudener on it, so when I put it on, it's even more noisy.
Like
You only take
like a transformer. You just goo goo goo.
I like to imagine that it just sounds like you're dropping like 15 pots and pans down a staircase, but like sped up. So it's just clank, 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 clank.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I'll hope I get his stuff on.
Okay. With Bulwark helping you, you actually put the armor on in about 5 minutes rather than 10. Yep.
Okay,
All
let's
right.
head out.
So are you heading all the way over to Six Windows T14?
Yes.
Okay. As you approach, it is a chilly, creaking, decrepit wooden rooming house. It's probably 3 stories tall, very wide. You enter in, because it's a rooming house is like a hostel. You enter in, and as soon as you enter the door, it's very dark inside. There's the only thing that enters in is the light from the door, and in the windows there are windows, but they're like the curtains are shut, so like little rays of light shoot through, and you hear a creaking sound deeper in, and you see vaguely in the light, and those of you with dark vision see fine, an old woman um, with a like a raggedy blanket thrown over her, sitting in a rocking chair, rocking and facing towards the door. As you open the
I would have.
door, she doesn't say anything.
Can I have ritual casted detect magic before we walk in?
Sure. Like on your way there, it would have taken you about 10 minutes.
Hmm.
Divine sense.
There's nothing that you pick up with divine sense.
Okay.
Yep. Nope. Nothing.
Except my horse that is standing outside.
Correct.
Hello.
Huh? You here to take my owl bears?
You have owlbears?
They're mine.
Okay, you can have them.
But a room is 2 copper.
Okay. And Blue will pass her 2 gold. I
Hmm?
think that was copper.
You want the whole place for the day?
No, I just don't have any copper. Here you go.
Oh, okay. And she tosses the coins in like a little pot next to her. You see it's like empty other than your 2 coins.
Oh. Well, now it's got like what the equivalent of 200 coppers. Blue will ask, or sort of look a little bit unsure as he looks sort of between Malira and himself, who's going to lead this conversation.
Your room's at the end of the hall.
Thank you.
And
I
she'll
was
point to like a
wanting.
room on her left.
Thank you. Before I head there, I'll probably only use that tonight. I wanted to ask a question. Do you know? Where we heard from some people in town that a few people have been going missing in the forest. Do you know anything about that?
Missing? My husband went missing. Ran off with that damn tramp.
Which tramp was that?
Which one? I don't know. There were so many.
How old is this person?
It's a little hard to tell, but maybe like late 50s, early 60s.
Can I make an
Okay.
insight check when she said he ran off?
Yeah, sure.
I also will do this.
So Bulwark, it's kind of hard to tell because I think you get the impression that she's not like all there. And Blue, you get the impression that something's fogging her mind. Maybe it's mental illness, maybe it's just old age, but it looks like something is not, like she's not all there.
Blue, do you want to give her a little bit of juice?
Juice? I don't have any juice. I could make some juice. I've got good berry.
Juice? Orange juice. Yeah. I like it. It's hard to get around these parts.
Blue will offer her a good berry.
She'll look at it and she'll say, is it poison?
Well,
Have
of
you
course
come to
not.
kill me?
No, we're friends. It's yummy.
Make a persuasion check. Malaria, did you have advantage for a reason?
I just have it on like that, so I don't have to worry about turning the disadvantage on and off.
Okay. You don't learn anything new that Blue didn't
Yeah.
already get. But you get those same impressions. She, like, instead of like swallowing the good berry whole, she kind of like bites it like if you were eating half of a grape, right? And she kind of like moves it around in her mouth a bit, And then she spits it out into the same pot as the gold and throws the other half of it down in there. Too bitter.
Bitter. This lady is crazy.
When was the last time you saw your husband? Do you remember?
Last week. He ran off. No good tramp.
Blue's going to. What does that heal? I don't know if it's going to be relevant at all. I can end a disease or condition, blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned. In the process of like giving her the good berry, could Blue have tried to cast lesser restoration on her?
Make a sleight of hand check.
Oh no, I'm not very good at that.
This is to see if you can like get it off in the time that you touched her while passing her the berry. No. No, you go for it, but she kind of snatches the good berry out of your hand before you have a chance.
Okay. Do I just forcefully do it? I don't know if she's even. Okay. Have I heard of any disease or condition or poison that could cause like someone's memory or mind to become foggy?
Make a
other than
medicine
like
check.
natural causes or insanity?
Okay. So you think that either old age or a traumatic event or something of that nature has addled her mind. And she is genuinely facing insanity, like some form of madness.
Okay.
And with such a high roll, there's not really a natural way to fix that. It would be on the magnitude of something like greater restoration.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, Blue will shrug resignedly and say to his companions, let's leave this kind lady to her devices, and we'll see you again when we board for the night.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, she's insane. She thinks my good berries are bitter. They're not bitter. They're very sweet.
Yeah, that's what's kind of threw me off as well. That's what got me to think that.
That was our first sigh.
Okay. Is that all you're doing?
I'm gonna walk around through the forest for a bit, follow the path.
Okay.
Have detect magic online while we do so.
As you head deeper into, and it's a decently sized forest. It's nowhere near as big as the Neverwinter Wood. As you follow the trail, it eventually comes to a river, and in the middle of this river is a bridge that leads to like a wooden arch that has a tree stump atop which is a wooden altar and a like a dais. The water rushes smoothly, babbles like a brook, and this appears to be the altar of that god that was mentioned.
So
Divine
from what
sense.
I think, yeah, good idea.
It's a range of 60 feet, right?
Yeah.
It's celestials, fiends, and undead that you sense, right?
Yep.
Okay, none of those.
Oh, that's drow magic. There you go.
Yep. Nope. No celestials, fiends, or undead within 60 feet of you that are not behind
Except,
total cover.
except Winchester.
And the zombies in the ground, of course.
Ah, yes.
Oh, the zombies in the ground.
Mhm.
The zombies in the ground.
Sorry, could you remind me what that? I think a couple of people mentioned it. Which god they were saying?
Gwayrin Windstrom. Go ahead and make a religion check. Yeah, I think 11 is enough for some basic information. So Gwayron Windstrom is a god of tracking and rangers. Um, da, 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 da. His holy symbol is a paw print with a 5-point star in the center. And he's kind of in that same, it's not a pantheon, but kind of in that same trio of Sylvanas, Mielecki, those.
Okay, because that's what I was going to say. Is Blue remembers sort of Mielecki being the god of the forest. So
Yep.
he was a
So,
bit confused.
like,
Yes.
Sylvanas is the oak father, and he's kind of the god of the wilds in its entirety. And then Mielecki is the god of forests, and then Gwayrin is tracking, hunting, rangers, that type of thing.
I think that we should be careful. I don't know if you remember, Blue, but way back in Nightstone, I stole that alms box, and I didn't give it back from Mielecki. So maybe I should make like a little offering at the shrine for good favor. I don't know what they
This
like.
isn't Mielecki.
No, but like they're like cousins, aren't they? Gwyn and Mielecki.
I don't think they care about a box.
True. They probably wouldn't want it because, rangers don't like metal stuff. I probably did a good thing.
From what I've seen before, rangers don't mind metal stuff. It's druids like myself that don't like metal that much.
Okay. Is detect magic popping off as I get near the shrine?
Give me 2 seconds. I'm pulling Cole up there with you. Let's see, 30 feet, right? Nope. Well, I guess it would. Because this is a. Well, no, it wouldn't. Because like just
Divine
walking
sense.
walking into a regular church, it wouldn't give you any. Um. Um. mm, No, you don't sense anything with divine sense.
I cast Detect Evil and Good.
Okay. Put that in the chat for me because I don't know all the details. Okay. Sounds good. I'm gonna pop you up a bulwark. As you get closer to the shrine, you do detect magic.
Can I use my action to see a faint aura visible around any creature or object that bears the magic?
No, you see no auras. You don't know where this magic is. You just know that you've come within range of it.
But you can use your action to
Yep, you don't see
Like
the
a
source of the magic.
faint aura
Yeah.
around it.
Yeah, you don't see the source of it yet.
It could be down in the ground.
Bulwark, Blue, Cole, and Malira, as you guys kind of all get onto small island, and it's probably about 15 feet off of the river. A figure ascends out of the other side of the island. It is a cloaked figure. His face is kind of masked over in shadow, but you can tell that he has elven features. They're very sharp, brown hair that kind of falls in front of his eyes. And he wears around his neck a large bear's claw that has been um, almost branded with a gold star. And on his back is a rather fine looking glaive. It seems very well taken care of, as if it's almost never been used. And he kind of holds his hands out and kind of gestures towards the shrine.
Where is this figure? Sorry.
Roughly here.
Okay. When you say he's gesturing,
He's
what
just kind
sort
of
of
holding his hands out and not points, but he kind of like uses that waving out motion to gesture towards the shrine, like the kind of dais here.
is there anything on the dais that has been left
Um,
before? Like he's wanting some sort of offering.
yeah, I think there would be some offerings, right? Trophies from animals like elk ears, bear claws, things of that nature. However, Malira, when you fully embrace and get onto the island proper, um, the figure begins to let out this like deep, what's the word when something doesn't match the body that you're seeing? I guess dysmorphic. Um, this deep dysmorphic laugh, right? Kind of this. And he pulls the glaive off of his back, and the body begins to change. Um, and the kind of brown cloak he's wearing remains the same. However, it seems to, don't move yet. We're about to roll initiative. Get back to where you were.
Oh no.
The brown hunter's cloak seems to tatter and fade and reveals this large 12-foot tall, blue-skinned, white-haired, swole looking figure. And it says no words. Is floating probably about 20 feet above you at this point. And with the hand that's not currently holding the glaive, begins to, oh, does it do that? Not that.
Are we in its lair?
I don't know.
Did you want one of us to control Cole?
No, I can do it. It's fine. Yep. With the hand that's not currently holding the glaive, begins to trace a sigil in the air. Roll initiative.
Oh no.
I feel like this is some dark
Oh
souls
no,
shit right
Winchester.
here.
It's feeling very. I've never played Witcher,
I
but it
don't.
feels very witchery.
Do they does your steed? I think it acts at the end of your turn, doesn't it?
It's unless I'm mounting it, it has its own initiative.
Okay. All right. Well, it is Cole's turn at the top of this initiative order, and he is going to draw his light crossbow out because that's what he has that is ranged. He's going to go ahead and let loose a shot with it. He does not have advantage. I'm pretty sure 20 hits. Yep, a 20 hits. Cole lets loose an arrow, a crossbow bolt, and it clatters against this figure's loose chainmail. 5 points. Okay, and that is his turn. The crossbow bolt that's embedded in the chain, apparently in this figure's chest, gets pushed out and falls into the river, and it appears that the wound seals. The figure finishes drawing the sigil and mutters an arcane word and a blast of cold energy erupts in a massive cone. And I need all of you, except for Winchester, make a con save.
Cole will have a +3 to this.
Okay.
7. I'll just get rid of that aura right now because I've already decided to drop detection.
Okay.
Detect. I should have brought fucking protection from evil and good. God damn it.
Bulwark.
Hey, Tony.
Hmm.
Mine and Ollie's internet is really bad. Ollie's been talking, but he actually can't hear you, so we're both probably going to use my mic.
Wait, stop talking.
Yeah, stop talking, Jack.
Yeah, like he's speaking right next to me, but he can't get it.
Oh, that's crazy. Maybe he should restart Discord.
Oh, but even then his roll 20s are so.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can
Could
give you
we
access
take
to his
a?
character sheet. Yeah, we'll take a break.
Could we take a 5-minute break just so I can see if I can get the Wi-Fi up?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and actually just because it's 8:20. Let's go ahead and take 15.
Okay.
Oh, we'll be back in a sec.
Uh-oh, scary things going to happen. 1 sec.
Okay, there we go. Now I'm back.
Hello.
Woo.
Okay, awesome. Everything's working now. Okay,
Put
so
it
what
back
just
onto the
happened
screen.
before we left is the apparent figure of Gwayrin Windstrom, god of tracking, appeared before you to rise out of this small creek. And as you all approached and got onto this small shrine, the creature's visage began to fade into a hulking, tattered cloak wearing, chainmail donned, blue skinned creature, about 12 feet tall. He had a really nice looking glaive on his back as he rose out of the water, floating in the air. However, when he grabbed it off of his back and began to draw an arcane sigil in the air, the visage of the glaive began to change into a gnarled looking thing of black iron, the blades of which were replaced by serrated bone, clavicle, and hands, forearms that have been twisted and bent and carved into a nasty looking weapon. Cole fired a crossbow bolt into the creature's chest, which was shortly pushed out, and you saw the wound heal, with the sigil finishing. A blast of cold air froze over the entire small island up to the bridge. Malira, you failed a con save.
Yep.
And the Bulwark and Blue, you both passed. Oh, I need to roll for Cole too. About it.
He has a +3.
He also has a +7. So damn, he has a +10. He would have to fail this really bad to fail. He passes.
I
Okay.
cast absorb element.
So you're going to take quarter damage. Wait, how do you? Oh, you're a druid. I forgot. I was like, wait a minute. Okay. So Malira, you are going to take 37 points of cold damage.
Okay.
Bulwark, you are going to take. Let's see. 36 would be 18. So yeah, you're going to take 18 points of cold damage, Bulwark. And Blue, you will take 9. Cole will take. Blue, you have an innate sense in you that this creature is kin. I will say that.
Mm.
Um,
I mean, he has blue skin, so.
Yep. He is going to fly backwards. 5, 10, 15, 5, 30. And he's about 20 feet above you right now. Malira, it is your turn. What would you like to do? He kind of lets out this cackle as this frozen air covers you all in frost.
I'll quickly say to Winchester in our heads, to me in Elvish,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna duck 5, 10, 15 over here. Can I see him? Yes, I can.
Yeah, you can see him.
How's the daylight looking?
It is. See, it's really first thing in the morning, so it's quite bright. You went to go talk to that woman, and then you came straight here. It's
Okay.
actually probably about noon, so the sun's probably right above you.
Okay. I will pull out my longbow,
Hmm.
and I will cast magic weapon on it,
Okay.
giving it a +1. And I'm gonna draw 2 arrows and let loose 2.
All right, go ahead and fire.
15.
It just barely misses.
Oh, the other one's a crit.
Oh, that's awful. You fire the first arrow and it impacts and shatters against this creature's chainmail. The second it catches with its hand and snaps before throwing it to the ground.
And then I will, that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, get back there.
Okay.
I'm casting aid on everyone but myself. So Bulwark, Cole, and Malira, you get 10 extra hit points and you heal for 15.
So you get 10 extra hit points and heal for 15.
Yeah.
I should have done that first. All right, so you cast Aid. Everyone heals 15 and gains an extra 5 on their max HP. I'll do that for Cole.
10. I cast it at 3rd level.
Okay.
And then I'm going to move in here. And with my bonus action, I will take on. I will take on the. I don't know what this creature is capable of. How much damage will it do? Chalice. I will take on the chalice form.
Okay. Anything else? Well, no. Are you gonna move anywhere?
No, that's my turn.
Okay. Will work.
Does it appear to be wearing any metal besides the item in its hand?
It is wearing chainmail.
Perfect. Bulwark will reach into a pocket and take out half a dozen metal or stone runes, and he will throw them into the air, and he will say in Elvish to leave, casting heat metal. This action.
You throw the metal contraptions into the air, and as they sail over the babbling brook, you watch as it raises its hand and makes a scooping motion, and then looks as if he's throwing something down, and your baubles fall into the brook, and he appears to have counted.
Huh. And then I will bonus action to gain my temporary hit points.
Okay. Winchester.
I asked him to come, so he should be able. How's that bridge looking for him?
Is risky. It's actually no, it's not. This is a well-maintained bridge. He would be able to make it across, no problem.
Okay, he'll get up next to me, and then that would be him. He'll take. Can he take the dodge action?
I don't know off the top of my head what actions mounts can take. I know it's
Yeah,
dash,
he can.
disengage. Okay.
Because he's an intelligent mount, he can take any
That's
action
right.
he
He
wants.
is intelligent. I forgot all
Yeah,
about that.
he's.
So yeah, he can do fuck whatever. He's a smart horse.
Of course he is.
He
He's
can even do
Winchester.
algebra.
I don't know about algebra. I think his intelligence is a 6.
It is.
Okay. Cole is going to come around and get a better angle on this guy. I think he'll get up on the dais with you. Shot with his crossbow. He does not have any. Fortunate. 17 hits. He deals 7 damage.
Is he going to take another attack?
He cannot. He does not have crossbow expert.
Bonus action to reload, then fire again.
Not how that works.
Isn't it?
Nope.
No.
With the crossbow, you can only take 1 attack per action.
Oh, I'm thinking of.
He could action surge, but I don't think Cole would waste that. I think he's going to try to wait for the creature to come in melee potentially.
Yep. Oh, good.
It is the creature's turn, and he is going to draw another sigil in the air. However, this one is darker in or purple in appearance. And it's invisible. Malira.
Okay. I will spend 15 feet to get onto Winchester.
Sure.
His initiative now becomes the same as mine.
Yep. I'll go ahead and.
I'll just put myself there.
Okay.
And then we'll go. I'm guessing he can fit through here and
Yeah, he can fit through that
mainly
direction, no
walk around.
problem.
5.
Moving through blue will be difficult terrain.
Yeah. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And I will hold my action to shoot an arrow when he pops up.
Okay.
And Winchester will take the dodge action.
All right. Blue.
Okay. So Malira took the biggest hit from Grain of Cold. I will. I'm going to Cure Wounds. No. Yeah, I may as well Cure Wounds her. I can get up to her. I'll Cure Wounds her at first level, and I'll put the Chalice Healing into myself.
Okay.
One on the dice. Very fun, very fun. So more healing for me. Very good.
The most selfish life cleric. Bulwark, it is your turn.
That was my. Oh no, that was my action. Never mind. Yep. Actually, I'm gonna copy this dude, and blue turns invisible.
Okay. Cool beans.
Can I use my movement to climb on top of this thingy thing?
Yeah, I think it's probably 15 feet tall, so it would take all of your movement, but you don't have to roll anything. It's pretty easy to climb up on. It is a little
And I
precarious
will.
up on the top, though.
Well, how far is the drop?
It's a 15-foot drop.
Hmm.
I would say that if you get hit by something, you'll have to roll a save to try to stay on top of
If I get hit, I like those odds.
it. You ass.
40 crits on you.
No, I will probably go 1, 2. Yeah, probably go here, and I will hold an action. Actually, no, here, and I will hold an action to chain whip.
It probably is a 10-foot drop because there are some steps that lead up to that point.
Then I stay here and hold my action to chain whip.
Okay. All right. Cole does not know what to do, so I think what he's going to do. What's his? No, his wisdom is a 6. He's going to hold an action to shoot it if he sees it.
And shoot himself in the head. He's that dumb.
Let's see here. Okay. Bulwark, you are attacked, but the creature is invisible, so it has advantage on its attack roll against you.
Yep.
21.
Misses.
Motherfucker.
Does it reveal itself when it attacks me?
Yes.
Perfect. And I push it 15 feet back with my reaction.
Okay, with the repulsion thing.
I think you need to be hit for that. I can't remember.
Is it a hit or?
Oh
miss?
yeah, I do need to be hit. My bad. Sorry.
Okay.
I can't get value.
It swings out and misses, and then it tries again. No, it fails. That's let's see how much did it?
Would our reactions go off?
Yes, actually. At first. Shot. Nope, both of you missed. 15 feet that way, it would have 10 feet.
And I bring it 5 feet close to me.
Okay. Bring it 5 feet closer to you, and then it moves 5 feet back. All movement.
And then I use my reaction to whack it with my Thunder Gauntlet.
That's not how that works. You already used your reaction to change.
You held your action. Oh, is that use my reaction? Oh, okay, never mind.
It's all of its movement. It attacked. It doesn't have any bonus. Lyra.
All right. Winchester will move.
Now it's about 10 feet off the air. Well, I guess to attack Ulrich, it wouldn't have had to fly down because he's on a 10-foot dais. He would have had to gun down. I think it's 20 feet off of the island and 10 feet off of the altar. Anyway, your turn, Malia.
It's too far away. Actually, would it be 10 feet high? 10 feet, not 10 feet. If I got closer, could I hit him with my lance?
On top
Because
of
my
the
lance also gives me a +5 reach.
so it gives you a 10-foot reach.
Yeah.
Okay. If you were able to get onto the altar, you would, but not from the ground.
Okay, I'll yeet 2 more arrows at him.
Okay. The sun blinds you as you launch your 2 arrows, and they go wide and miss.
Do I have any bonus action that won't interact with magic weapon? No, I don't.
Right, Blue, you pop back into visibility, seeing Malira cover her eyes as she launches 2 arrows.
Yeah. What to do? What to do? I'm going to cast Fairy Fire with my action.
Dexterity save, correct?
Indeed.
That rolls a 13, so it is fairy fired.
And yeah, that is my turn. I'm going to stay here. I'll probably move up a little bit just in case
Okay.
Malira wants to. Maybe I don't want to move towards the thing.
It will
I'm just
shout at you in common. A blasted spellcaster. Your next meet.
Okay.
I'm going to cast heat metal on the motherfucker.
Okay. It's another dexterity save, correct?
For heat metal.
As a Connor dex.
It is a con save, and I'm casting it on his. The Constitution save is to hold the item. He can't hold the item, so he takes the 11 fire damage.
Okay. Are you casting it on the glaive?
I'm casting it on his chain.
Okay. He rolled a 19 on his.
I'll put it in chat. I'm not sure if the shave is just to reduce the damage or if just to hold the item.
Okay.
It's to hold the item.
It takes 2d8
Yeah.
fire damage, and he.
Well,
I guess it
if
doesn't.
if you're casting it on its armor, he can't drop it. So
Drop it anyway.
So he
Yep,
just
so
has
just the 11
disadvantage on all
fire damage.
attacks.
Okay.
And I will try and get over here in between Blue and the guy, and I'll say, like hell you are.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah.
Cole is going to drop his crossbow. Oh no, he's not, because it's not within range. So no, he's gonna shoot it. Not what I wanted. Out of your steam.
He has advantage.
24 and a 12. So hits for 8 damage. Cole will move close. Will work in case it decides to get closer and engage. On its turn. it is to first region health. And then it is going to draw a glyph in the air that almost looks like a moon. And you are all plunged in darkness. Malira, what do you do?
I cast. I know this, right? He casted darkness on us.
Yes, I would say because you know the spell inherently, you would realize that that's.
I can't do anything. I will cast Sanctuary on myself and therefore also on Winchester.
Because of the fine steed thing. Very cool.
Yep. And that me.
Okay. You probably know more about mounts than I do. If
Yes.
the creature is able to attack the horse, is it also able to attack you?
If it chooses either me or it to attack. If I had mounted combatant, I could make it always attack me.
Okay. Blue, it is your turn.
Okay. I think Blue has seen Malira cast a spell before, but he's still very.
Well, you didn't see her cast anything.
No. But in I've seen Malira cast darkness before.
Has she?
I have. When we were fighting those 3 giants in the town.
Yep.
I used it to let us escape.
I'm going to be moving this way, trying to get out of the darkness. At what point do I sort of
Right there.
get out of it? Okay. Looking around, do I see this creature?
Your passive perception is 15. I think you can just barely see the tip of its head right here.
Okay. So that's 15, 20.
And then as you climb up, you can kind of you see probably its neck up at that point.
Okay. I'll fire a guiding bolt at it.
Okay. It's going to have 3/4 cover. Well, it doesn't really have cover.
And guiding bolt just goes straight through. You don't even need to see the target. It just travels in the direction.
Well,
Yeah, the cover still applies to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's a weird situation. I don't want to give you disadvantage. I guess this is a situation where disadvantage would apply. I'll tell you what. You can either have disadvantage or it can get a +5 to its AC. It's your choice.
I'll keep my advantage from fairy fire. It can have its +5.
Okay. Yeah, 27 easily hits.
Nice. And then with my bonus action, I don't think there's anything I can do, so I do nothing.
Can't save for the darkness.
Yep, I know. I know these things.
Me don't like darkness. I love it and hate it.
You are unplunged from darkness as this creature takes a radiant bolt to the chest. Bulwark.
I will use a bonus action to do the heat metal damage. Another 10 damage.
Okay.
And how high is he up in the air?
He is 20 feet off of the land, 10 feet off of the.
I will. I will chain whip him to bring him in closer. There we go. 19.
Yes,
I
that
bring him
hits.
in 10 feet closer to me.
Okay.
Is there a chance that I can also bring him like 10 feet closer and 10 feet down so that he's level
No,
with
you
the
get one or
platform
the
now?
you get one or the other, not both.
I will probably move him 5 feet closer than 5 feet down then.
Okay.
So he can move one square back. So he's 5 feet from the thing, and so that Malira can hit him now.
All right.
And then with my movement, I'm going to move here because I don't want to break concentration on heat metal.
Right. Cole will miss with an 11. It is the creature's turn, and it will look at you, Bulwark, and it will mutter some arcane word. And I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, and you have advantage.
And a +3.
Fuck, I forgot.
Booyakasha. 19.
Fail. Kidding. Okay.
I've got friends, you blue bastard. You don't?
Gonna go ahead and fly away. He's gonna go up 30 feet.
Okay.
Would Malira get an attack of
No,
opportunity? Because
I have a bow.
yes, doesn't have the lance
horse
out.
would though.
It's currently under controlled mount, so it's not.
Gotcha. Right, it flies up 30 feet.
And he's only got a range of 5 feet.
Facts. Valeria, it's your turn.
I'm gonna yeet some more arrows at him.
Okay. Remember that you have
14.
disadvantage. Oh no, it's fairy fight. That's right.
So it doesn't matter.
Huh. Oof.
Sanctuary went away with that, so I will. I don't have my shield out, so I can't. I don't have any materials. That's me.
Okay. Blue, you are up.
I feel sorry for this thing. It's not doing very well, is he? I'll call out in giant. Anytime you want to surrender, we can do that. And then I'll cast a guiding bolt at it.
Right, you peg it in the chest again. Your radiant bolt. Oh, I don't know why I did 24 points a day. Anything else?
No, that's my turn.
Okay, Bulwark.
I jump in the air and chain whip it to bring it 10 feet down.
Okay, roll to hit. You miss.
Oh, I got advantage.
You miss.
14. No. And then I deal my heat metal damage. 7 damage.
Okay. Cole will attempt to his crossbow. He a 9.
He has advantage.
Does have advantage. I think I forgot last time. Okay. You watch as even though this Ernie's flesh is this creature's flesh is burning from the white hot chain, its wounds still heal. It casts a spell and turns invisible again.
It can't. It's very fast.
Does it?
Fuck. Okay, no. Then fine. It's smart enough to know that. I am not. It casts a spell and you are all plunged into darkness.
It loses its turn, this thinky idiot.
Don't do that. Let's see. Draw my little circle on my screen.
Come on, just
Okay. Right, Malira, it is your turn.
Alright, I'm a darkness, but she knows the small edge, so she doesn't want to.
Yeah, like half of you is out of it, but I guess you wouldn't really know that because you're still in it. You know that you know that it's a 15-foot radius. So
Yeah. I will take a single step to the left.
yep, you're out of it.
Okay.
And you see it flying into the woods.
Yeet, yeet, longbow.
Okay. There's no
oh my god.
It doesn't get any saves against fairy fire at the end of its turn, does it?
Nope.
So dumb. Anyway, yeah, you hit.
Yeet.
Okay.
No,
That's a
yeet.
miss. It howls in anger as it flies away.
I'll shout to the others. He's heading that way. Looking back at the others, seeing that they're all in darkness.
Yep, seeing
Which way is that way?
seeing a massive sphere of darkness. Blue.
Okay. I'm going to move 5. Am I still in the darkness?
Yes.
10.
Well, if you move forward, you would actually fall 10 feet. I think I told Bulwark that earlier.
So the altar is 10 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
I knew where I was. Could I just drop down? I guess
you could, but you'd still take the fall damage. It's not. I think it's a d6.
Yeah, as long as I don't fall prone, that's kind of what I'm wanting to avoid.
Make an acrobatics check.
Athletics check?
Nope, acrobatics. Okay. So you jump off the side, pretty sure that you know where you are, but as you hit the ground, you land awkwardly 1 foot on one of these roots, and you fall over and stumble.
Okay.
Also, roll concentration for me.
I have. I don't know why it's not coming up. I'll try again. Oh, I rolled it in D&D Beyond. All right. I got a 17, but I'll roll again.
Please just know that it shows up. Okay. Yep, you're fine.
So that's... I've got 10 feet left, so I'm going to move 5. Am I still in the darkness?
No.
Okay. Can I see the creature?
Yes. As you kind of look around, you see it fleeing in between trees.
Okay. I will shift my form with my bonus action to the archer form, and I will shoot after it.
You have to spend another wild shape to do that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm fumbling. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Oh my god.
still alive. Looking good though.
Unfortunate.
Bulwark, it is your turn.
Pattern?
You have been plunged into darkness. What would you do?
Does it ever made con saves against those attacks?
Fair point. Balls.
Bulwark hand titan
You are
his
unplunged
gauntlet.
from darkness.
Bulwark hands titan.
Despite this thing's massive con save, it cannot concentrate to save its life. Why am I not able to?
Bullock is going to reach out and tighten his hands, and the runes go even brighter. 7 damage, please.
Okay, it is still alive.
And I go 1, 2.
Is that it?
And I cast Magic Missile.
God damn it.
He takes 6 damage.
It's 5 more than what he needed. How do you want to kill him? This is Holmes. I imagine that the runes are holding his hand. He sort of just throws them out as like pebbles going really fast, and all 3 of them just 1, 2, 3 back of the head, and he just slumps to the ground. Yep. He slumps to the ground, and the glaive clatters to the forest floor.
And I dismiss heat metal because I don't want to make it like a souffle, or not a souffle. I don't want to make like a what are they called? The thing that Gordon Ramsay makes that he's really famous for, beef Wellington, out of this guy.
Okay.
I was thinking you didn't want to burn down the forest.
Not that too.
Right. This thing is on the other side of this river.
Can you throw me across, Blue?
I could jump across, and I will cast jump on myself and jump across.
Okay. You land on the other side.
I will detect magic.
The glaive is magical.
Okay, I will pick up the glaive and jump back across.
Need to find
but before I do that, I would like to search his body for anything else. Also, do I outside of combat? Obviously, I'm also thinking a bit more. I recognize this thing as giant kin. But do I know anything more about potentially these creatures?
Make an Arcana check.
He knows something. Wow.
Let's see. You do not. You do not know what this creature is. You rack your brain. You recognize that it's giant skin, but it's cerulean skin and filed nails. Don't ring a bell for you.
Could I make an Arcana check?
You could, yes.
I know more than you.
Could I make a history check to see if I've read anything about this?
I think it would still be an Arcana check.
Okay, I'll
based on the type of creature that it is.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you all kind of rack your brains together, and you're not sure what it is. Some kind of giant, to be sure.
Does the creature's I'll probably ask Blue on the other side. Does the creature's face like resemble a humanoid face, like anyone we've seen before?
No.
And it didn't have anything else on it besides the.
It has a giant size, like a large size set of chainmail. It's wearing like raggedy pants, and it kind of has that torn burlap cloak. It's all sized for this giant to wear. And then the glaive is like super long. It's like 15. Far too unwieldy for you.
Yeah. Blue, I think, as he sort of jumps across holding this glaive, well, first of all, he looks like he very much enjoys how far he can jump, and I think he jumps like back and forth across just for fun for a little bit before coming back, and sort of puts the glaive down, sort of leaning against a root in the altar, and say, didn't really have much on it. It had that glaive, which a friend of ours might have liked, but yeah.
Tomorrow I can identify what exactly this is, but until then, I think we should keep it concealed somehow. We should try and talk to the guardsmen. We don't know how, because the creature had the ability to cast magic. It could have been the reason why people were dying in this forest, or it could have even made that old lady become batshit insane.
Well, I think it's a safe assumption. It was what was causing people to disappear. You said you detected magic on this island. Once I'm back across, do I sense that as well, or was that the Oni all along?
It appears that the magic glaive, the only.
Okay,
I would like to divine sense just once more time.
Put that in the chat for me so I can read it explicitly.
Okay. And I will use 23 of my lay on hands to heal myself.
I don't think you sense anything with this.
Okay.
Can I, having a look at the glaive, ascertain any of its, is it does it stick out as like a giant glaive, or like is there anything I can ascertain from it?
Like I said, well, make a medicine check for me first.
Medicine?
Okay. The glaive has, like I said, serrated bones instead of blades affixed to the end. And these bones are inscribed with runes. Can't really tell what they do. They appear to just be whatever is imbuing the glaive with a magical essence.
They are in giant, right?
Yeah, I think they would be giant runes. They don't relay any particular. Well, make an Arcana check.
I do speak giant, if that helps.
Yeah, but it's not so much that the runes have like linguistic meaning. It's more that the runes are imbuing a certain type of magical power. And the complex nature of this enchantment eludes you. It is very sophisticated magic, or very complex magic, rather. Blue. As you hold this weapon, it seems to thrum in your hands with a satisfied energy.
Okay. I'll sort of hold it a little bit, like confused as to what this means, and I'll say, well, can you hold, or Melira, can someone else hold this? I want to see if it does this for anyone else.
I wouldn't like to hold it, but I can.
I'll do that for you, Malira. I don't want you to get in any scuffles with your paladin oath. If you're holding something that's cursed, and I'll pick it up and I'll say to it in giant, "Hello, anyone in there?" I'll give it a little rattle.
Make a strength saving throw.
Who's doing that?
Bulwark, it begins to shake violently in your hand as you speak giant to it, and you drop it.
I'll say in giant again, "Hello."
Go ahead and roll a d20 for me. It violently spins towards your feet and almost impacts against you, but you're able to step out of the way.
Oh, it doesn't like it when I speak giant.
Blue, pick it up again.
Okay. Nothing
And
happened.
is it thrumming in happiness like it was before?
No.
Okay. This is interesting.
Wait, does it hate me because I speak giant?
I think it hates you because you're not a giant.
Oh yeah. You speak giant or you hold it. Ask it if it's okay.
Okay. I'll say in giant, hello. Does it attack me?
Blue, as you speak to this thing, in your mind, you hear a voice. The voice of an angry elven woman. And she says, "Keep your tongue to yourself. Tolerate your assisted slave, sir."
Sorry. Perhaps I'll speak in Elvish instead. Would you prefer that?
That's what
Who are you?
I am retribution. Your intent is to slay giants. This one.
If they're hurting other people, yeah.
I will.
Thank you. Blue will sort of look at Bulwark and Malira and say, and sort of whisper in his breath, "Do you hear that?"
You don't hear anything.
I do
No.
not.
It's speaking to me.
Maybe we've got a new friend.
Don't add it to your inventory yet, Blue, because you don't have you have an identity.
Well, if she's only, what is it saying?
Well, it sounds like an elvish woman, and she says that she is retribution, and she asked if I was going to kill giants.
Well, I'm not sure if you can hear me or not, Retribution, but that seems to be our itinerary for the next couple of days. We do go around killing giants, so if that's something you're into, we'll help you with that.
It doesn't say
Does she
anything
say
beyond the
anything?
word.
Okay. Blue will sort of wait, and when nothing is said, we'll say, thank you for trusting me, but unfortunately I'm not very good with, I don't really know how to use glaives. You might be better off in someone else's hands, or would you only accept mine?
You feel it twist in your hands, Blue, and almost slide around, like the shaft slides up into the air a bit. Make an insight check real quick. Actually, what's your passive insight?
18.
Okay. The way that it's moving in your hand, it's almost as if it's scanning the area. And it slides back down into the grip and says, "They care not."
Okay, well, I guess I could try and learn how to use a glaive. But
I will help you with.
Thank you. I did have a question. Obviously, my I don't know if you can see anything, but my armor is made out of bone, so I don't necessarily have a problem with it. But what are these your bones? Retribution?
Make a persuasion check. It sighs, says, "It's not something to discuss."
Okay, that's fine. All right. Well, it's nice to meet you, and I'm sure we'll be friends.
You attuned to this
Okay.
weapon, Blue?
Not right now. I will wait a little bit.
Okay. You feel it reach out with a connection
I'm a little bit scared. Sure, fuck it. I've already been cursed once.
Okay.
Do you want?
I'm gonna add it to your inventory because I think there's another version of this weapon that I was working on, and I don't want you to see all that because not all of it's accurate, and it's also got stuff I don't. So,
Okay.
I think I have to activate homebrew.
Did you want to ask the creature the weapon how it came in the service of the Oni before you attuned to it, or?
No, Blue is very trusting.
Blue's very trusting of headless voices in his brain.
She sounds nice enough.
Oh, did I not put it in Beyond? I sure didn't. Okay. So what I'm going to have to do is I will screenshot what I want you to see. I will send it to you. I have it up on my other computer, so it's going to be a little jank.
Okay.
Out of here, Jack, sending me messages. Okay. As you accept this connection that it makes with you, I'll say that this time probably took about an hour. So if anyone needs a short rest, you can go ahead and benefit from that.
Yay.
For doing a short rest, I will quickly use my Channel Divinity to gain a spell slot back and then regain my Channel Divinity.
Yeah, I'll do that too.
Blue, as this weapon and you make this connection, you feel as if like the knowledge that this spirit has of using slaves fills into your mind, and you have a pretty good idea of how to use it.
Ooh. V 2.0.
Okay. Become a Asimar Witch and take Great Weapon Master.
Make her about to heal giant strength, easy peasy.
Yeah.
I'm reading 1 second.
You can share if you want. I just sent it to you because it was.
I'll send it into the group chat now that
Okay.
I've read it. I can cast a 4th level spell with it.
What was that?
That's the sound of me having 3 magic items and Fork having none.
Fork has plenty of magic items.
That's not an equivalent.
It is an equivalent.
No, it's not. They're class features.
As long as you keep your infused items to yourself, I will give you nothing.
I don't. That's categorically bullshit.
I'm kidding.
Wait, it's legendary. Holy shit, I didn't even read that. Oh my.
Is a sentient item. You cast a 4th level spell with it, and the other feature. That's legendary.
Yeah, Giant
Plus
Hunter.
2 weapon.
That's very helpful.
So what do you guys do?
Okay.
Now?
Sorry, I'll answer that in a sec. Is it on D&D Beyond? Because I'm looking up Retribution.
It's not. I'm gonna have to put it in.
Okay,
Because
all
the
good to
version
know.
that I have in there is not the one that I want, and I can't delete that
Gotcha.
version anymore because I published it.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I also
Question.
don't. There's also more to that document than what I sent you, and I don't want you to see the rest of it. So,
Yeah. Gotcha.
Question.
Mhm.
Does the weapon concentrate on Guardian of Nature, or do you concentrate on Guardian of Nature?
Way that I've written it so far is that it casts Guardian of Nature on you. That's part of what makes it.
Okay.
But it chooses. You can ask it to. It might not always comply. And it might cast it on you without you needing it or wanting it.
Okay. I think as an aside, at some point, I think Blue will. No, I was going to offer to give you the Pearl of Power Bulwark, but since you don't have third level slots, I still think it is better in my hands. But you can have it if you want.
I would like it because I use up my second level spell slots a lot. And I can use it for
Okay,
really good
you can have the Pearl of Power.
Okay, I'll attune to it over the hour.
Yeah, that's fine. I actually kind of think this is a good stopping point. Now that I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll wrap up there. Oh, actually, we'll say that you guys head back through the forest and go back to Triborg. That's where we will stop. It's probably going to be about midday. No, it was already midday. It'll probably be late afternoon.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. I'm gonna do the exit song and just stick around because I do want to have a chat.
Okay.
Sweet.
All right. Thank you everyone so much for joining us. We hope you had fun. Come see us next week, same time, same place. Make it a great day.